Hi everyone, this is Miss Karen again. I'm going to read page 5 and 6 of your social studies packet. Both of them are informational pages, so there's no work that we have to fill in for these two pages, but they're important for us to understand to complete the rest of our packet. So they are the pages that say Citizen Me on top. On the bottom, you see reading page 1 and reading page 2, so you could follow along as I read them out loud. You are a citizen. You may not go around thinking of yourself as a citizen, but you are one. A citizen is a member of a community who has rights and responsibilities. A community is a group of people who share an environment. The word citizen can have two meanings: people who live in a certain place or are a member of a certain community, or people who are legally recognized by a nation as owing loyalty to that nation and being entitled to protection by the nation. Every day you are part of several different layers of community. That means you have many different levels of citizenship. At each level you have rights and responsibilities. Levels of citizenship. The people you live with at home make up the smallest community you belong to. Your school or workplace is a community too. These are the people you interact with outside of your home every day. You are also a citizen of the city or county where you live. Our nation is made up of 50 states, a district, and 5 territories. You are citizens of the state or territory where you live too. Finally, you are a citizen of your country. To be a citizen of a country, you must be legally recognized by that country. Usually that happens when you were born there or you went through a process to become a citizen. Even so, non-citizens living in a country are still citizens, in the sense that they are members of the community. It poses a question for us to think. Can you think of any other levels of citizenship that you have? Possibly the 7th grade class you could think of as a community within the Saucedo building. Alright, the next section says sources of rights and responsibilities. Citizens have rights and responsibilities, but where do those rights and responsibilities come from? That depends on the level of citizenship. In the United States, at the national level, we are guaranteed a list of rights in our Constitution. The Constitution was written when our nation was born, and it sets the rules for how our nation will run. Laws passed by the U.S. Congress can also create rights. Each state also has its own constitution and its own set of laws. State constitutions and state laws contain the rights and responsibilities of state citizens. Cities often have a city charter that tells how the city will run. Cities will also pass laws, which are usually called ordinances. Most schools have a school handbook that lists the students' rights and responsibilities. Workplaces usually have an employee handbook. At home, the adults in charge decide what your rights and responsibilities will be. Maybe you even have a written list of responsibilities that you are allowed to do. Can you think of any other sources of rights and responsibilities in your life? Possible rules you have to follow at home or chores you have to complete. Alright, we are on to the next page. Page 5. It says rights on top. A right is a privilege or a claim to something. At the national level, the U.S. Constitution guarantees really big rights such as freedom of expression, freedom to peacefully assemble, freedom to petition the government, freedom of worship, and the right not to have the government search your stuff without a warrant. In fact, these rights are guaranteed to everyone living in the U.S., not just U.S. citizens. Rights that belong only to U.S. citizens include voting in the federal election, serving on a jury, and running for federal political office. State constitutions repeat many of the guarantees in the U.S. Constitution, but they often add more. Your state constitution might guarantee the right to free education or equal rights for men and women. A city charter gives you the right to service your city provides, such as sidewalks and parks. What would it be a problem if the US Constitution talked about sidewalks? Okay, so think how that might impact different people living in different parts of the country. We live in Chicago, okay, so there are sidewalks all over. There's city ordinances about sidewalks. But do you think we need sidewalks in rural towns all along the roads? Is that something that should be a rule that everyone in the United States follows as it would be in the US Constitution, or should that be something states and cities apply? The next section. Maybe it seems like your school handbook contains a lot of things kids aren't supposed to do, and the very few rights. But look closer. Sometimes rights are the flip sides of responsibilities. If your handbook says you can't do something, it is silently giving you the right to do something else. For example, the handbook might say not to throw food in the cafeteria. This is silently saying you have the right to eat in the cafeteria. If the handbook says no inappropriate t-shirts, it is silently saying you have the right to wear appropriate t-shirts. At home, you probably don't have a handbook of rights. Even so, the adults in charge may give you the right to eat the food they buy or the right to watch TV and play video games. What rights do you have at your school, at your home? Think. They might not be written down, but what rights do you have? The last section, responsibilities. Responsibilities are duties to other people, the government, or society. At home, you are responsible for doing what the adults in charge ask you to do. You might have to sweep the floor, wash the dishes, or even wash the dog. At school, you are responsible for following the rules. You're probably not supposed to throw paper airplanes, chew bubble gum, wear your hat backwards, or carry weapons. City charters and city ordinances list the rules that apply in the city. For example, an ordinance may say, this is a $50 fine for flying a kite in the park. That means you've got a responsibility not to fly your kite there. Paying taxes is a big responsibility you'll find at all levels, including the state level. Your state might have taxes on property you own, income you earn, and even stuff you buy at the store. The U.S. Constitution does not have a list of responsibilities, but it does create a government that can't work if people don't participate. Voting in federal elections and serving on a jury are two responsibilities just for U.S. citizens, and they require participation. What if nobody showed up to vote? What if they voted without understanding the issues? How could you have a jury trial if everyone refused to do jury duty? These are responsibilities U.S. citizens have to both society and the government. This Constitution also gives Congress the power to make laws, and all U.S. residents have the responsibility to follow the laws. What responsibilities do you have? At which level? In the little box it says, okay, the last part, it says, did you know it's illegal to yell fire in a crowded theater? Responsibility for public safety comes before the right of free speech. Okay, once again, this information that I did read will be applied to later worksheets within the packet.